What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode review for Takt Destiny. This is episode 7, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
hmm So I think this is one of the better episodes of the season so far. It gave us a decent amount of action, a good amount of character development, and an interesting twist at the end. However, that twist was, I would say, a little bit more or less predictable due to laying out several hints over the past in the previous episodes.
Yeah, um, it it's just it's something I think most people would have seen coming. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you said, I like that we actually did get a fair amount of character development in this episode, specifically with Destiny or Cassette. Um, I wasn't really sure what this episode was even going to be about when it started, because it just seemed like, I guess, Tact was trying to find his inspiration again to like write we learned that Tact was trying to basically write a song that he could play, but of course he has like no piano or anything to practice on, and he's like losing sleep, I guess, over like trying to figure out what this song is going to be.
Yeah,
Um,
and
yeah,
but yeah, there was also another reason for this is who would he be writing or playing it for? I mean,
yeah,
there's a certain audience that he wants to, you know, play it for, but obviously the one person that he would like to play it for is Cosette, which which she's currently not physically there at the moment.
mhm.
Destiny, yes, but you know, Destiny is in possession of Cosette's body. But but it comes down to the point where that Tech really wants to perform this song in front of Cosette.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, like, we basically, for like at least the beginning of the episode, uh, Tact is just trying to figure out what kind of song he wants to play, and then like I guess I keep forgetting the sister's name. Like, after he has a conversation with her about
Anna.
yeah, Anna, like he talks with her about uh like I guess they just kind of have this conversation about or Cassette, like no, actually, like I think what prompts him to like kind of follow, like starts following her, I guess just to I don't even really know like why he starts like following her around. I guess he wants to see, I guess, if there's anything of Cassette left, and it's not just like this other person that's taken over, I guess, is what he's trying to do by like kind of following her around like that. But we do kind of learn like she like helps people out in her spare time, and she's like she's not like, I guess, just completely a robot. She has like, it feels like she has developed some kind of a personality, and like I think we learn from her later that yeah, she is starting to become more of, I guess, her
More
own person.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
human in a sense. Uh, yeah, I would say of her time, like trying to live as a regular human is starting to show a little bit. Um, Basically, what she's trying to do is help out some people who have lost their homes due to the D2 attacks that have happened uh, around town recently.
Mhm.
She's basically just going out buying supplies for all these different people, including helping out a mother trying to tend to her baby, who of course, yeah, they all lost their home, and then she goes around the park giving out candy to these little kids too, and this of course prompts Tack to display a little bit of curiosity of like whether or not if some part of Cosette is inside Destiny.
Yeah. Um, and then like I think this is where like yeah, like Anna finds him kind of like watching her, and then they talk about Destiny. Anna reveals that basically she was the one that gave Tack this I don't even know what this instrument is, but it kind of looks like this miniature piano, and I don't even know how to describe it. But like it's basically this instrument he practices on because he doesn't have a real piano to practice with, to practice the song he's writing. And the person that got it for him was Destiny. And basically we learned that Destiny kind of went out of her way to help out Takt, I guess more than he realized. So this kind of gives Takt like a bit of a different perspective on Destiny herself, I guess. And she ended up fighting the D2s herself without getting Takt to help her out, because we did actually see earlier on in the episode Takt losing his arm, and we find out that was we find out later that it was because, of course, Destiny was fighting the D2s, but we find out as well, like we get more context for why she was doing that, basically because she realized that Takt was so exhausted, like just working on the song, so she didn't want to, I guess, you want him to overexert himself. So we kind of like in this episode really seems to humanize Destiny more than she has been, which I really did like about it. They actually did give her some much needed character development. I'm kind of hoping Takt gets some more as well going forward too, and some of the other characters.
Yeah, there was one thing I didn't bring up in the last episode is throughout the entire series we've always seen Takt as this like cold, distant individual, but he seems to be a lot more happy when he's playing a piano, and then he enjoys performing in front of a decent sized audience. But at times when he's not, like, we just see him like more or less depressed and more distant towards other people when he's by himself.
I also think Takt probably had some kind of affection towards Cassette that he doesn't want to admit. He probably wouldn't want to admit to. But now that Destiny's taken over, he probably has, like, I guess, conflicted feelings about how he should feel about her.
Yeah.
Because, as we know, Cassette's not technically there anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, Destiny tried asking Takt, like, what Cassette really meant to him. But of course, he doesn't really answer that question until, like, they have to deal with another D2 attack that's happening out in the highway or out somewhere outside of town.
I think we should also mention something I think that happens at the very beginning of the episode too, with this conversation between the Schindler and I forget the other guy's name. One of the other higher up conductors.
The Grand Maestro, that's what they call him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know his name. I don't think you
basically
even brought it up
yet. So I'm not exactly like, we still don't really know what their intentions with Takt really are, but it's like basically they have different ideas of what they like, what should be done with Takt. Like, I guess Schindler wants to get rid of him. The Grand Maestro wanted to use him, I guess, for some reason. But we still don't really know what they intend to do with him.
Yeah.
But Schindler, of course, is very angry by this, and very much angered by this, and he's now, I guess, on this quest to just basically get rid of Takt. I mean, like, we kind of got that impression in one of the last episodes that he probably would be a villain, but in this episode, it pretty firmly, like, shows he's going to be a villain character.
Mm-hmm. And then there was also another quick scene in which we see Lenny and Titan somewhere out in like a gas station in the middle of nowhere, which they find out there's D2 attacks happening nearby, and they realize that Takt and the others are around that area where it's happening. So we'll probably get to see them again, probably in the next episode or two.
Yeah. But of course, Takt and Destiny go to deal with the D2, and then Destiny finds out there's even more D2s in different areas, and there just keeps being more of these D2s just popping up everywhere. And we find out that the reason for this, of course, is because of Hell using a tuning fork that apparently attracts D2s, and Schindler is there with her, and basically their intention was to pretty much try to, I guess, overwhelm them with the D2s. But of course, this is where Schindler kind of gives his, like, I guess you would say, what, a villain speech or something, where he's pretty much said, like, I was the one behind the attack on your hometown, and he was the one responsible for Destiny, quote unquote, or not Destiny, but Cassette, quote unquote, dying. So of course this makes Takt really, of course, angers Takt. So this is kind of where we leave the episode off on. Like, there's going to be there's huge cliffhanger that I guess there's about to be a fight between them, which is going to be kind of interesting.
I was a little bit
Uh,
surprised that they revealed Schindler's intention like this soon and this publicly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is one of the things I was kind of wondering throughout the series. I mean, obviously we know that the objective is to get to New York, but I was kind of concerned because there was no real like clear villain or anything like that. There's no, uh, there's, the only threat we know of is the D2s, and they're still fairly mysterious, which is fine. But I mean, we don't really, I don't know. It's kind of hard to get invested in what's happening because there's no like the threat as far as we knew was just the D2s. But now it seems like they're setting up Schindler as a villain. And his motivations are like we kind of find out he also kind of states what his motivations are, which he wants to get rid of the smaller towns and protect the bigger settlements or something. It sounded like some kind of survival of the fittest thing where the weak are going to, he wants to get rid of the weak people or the unnecessary people and leave everybody else, I guess. And that apparently he's also the one who's responsible for most of the D2s like awakening again and attacking everybody across the country.
I mean, there's some, I don't know. There seems to be some holes in his plans because
I don't really fully understand what the point is of what he's trying to do. It seems like I said before we started recording this, it seems like a fairly cliche thing. Like we've seen this kind of thing before with villains where they'll basically say, the weak need to perish, the strong must survive.
I think it's something more to do with uplifting his own status. In the Symphonica that he works with, but at the same time, like he's causing all this damage, and like even in the bigger urban areas, like in the bigger cities, like Las Vegas, for example, which has been reduced to like an economic wreck at that point, and now reduced to like just a simple farmland now. I mean, you have to wonder what his end game is. Like if probably obviously just to uplift his own status, but like what he really wants, like for the entire country in general.
Yeah. But yeah, we can actually if there was that scene in one of the earlier episodes, like I think it was episode 3, where we saw a figure like kind of standing on a rooftop. I think that was supposed to be Hel. She was she was what attracted all the D2s to attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and of course we also saw her briefly in that flashback Takt had earlier.
Yeah. We can probably assume that Schindler and Hel were probably involved with what happened during the Boston tragedy, in which Takt's father was killed, and also that Schindler also has some animosity toward the Asahina name. So you have to wonder if there's something going on with Schindler. With Schindler and Takt's family, or his father in general.
Yeah, that could be. Like, I mean, it would be more interesting if that were the case. But so far, it seems very like, I don't know. His motivations, like I said, are kind of ridiculous. So I kind of hope we maybe learn a little bit more about them. But yeah, that's pretty much where the episode ends. Of course, like it just ends on this cliffhanger. I thought it was okay. It wasn't. I mean, it was definitely, I think I would say, one of the better episodes just because of the character development, and also just because it kind of revealed Schindler to be this new villain. Although I'm not really sure how I feel about him as a villain, honestly. I don't know. I feel like we kind of need to get more information about him and like what he's really trying to do, before I really make any sort of before I have any real opinion on it. But I mean, yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say about the episode.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the things like about having to watch an anime that is more anime original compared to all this other stuff that are adapted from light novels or manga or something like that. But yes, of course we know Takt Op is based off of a mobile game that came out this year. However, there's not enough story material. Well, assuming if there is enough story material, I don't know if there's enough right now for them to adapt an entire story for this core in particular.
I mean, that being the case, it is kind of weird that they went ahead and made an anime out of it. Because like, for example, with other mobile games like Fate or Fate Grand Order, I mean, they did kind of, well, the way they adapted things has been kind of weird in my opinion. But I mean, at least they kind of waited until the story was pretty far along before they did anime adaptations.
I mean, Fate, they didn't adapt at least a couple of Fate Grand Order's arcs until like what, maybe 4 or 5 years into the game's life cycle. That like Takt just literally came out on Japanese mobile devices just this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how I feel about them doing their own original story. I guess as long as it's good, but so far I don't know. I've been kind of mixed on what they're doing with the plot. So I don't know. I mean, it depends on where the story ends up going, which it's kind of ambiguous, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that some parts of the story will be hit or miss in some areas. I mean, like visually, it looks good with Mappa and Madhouse working together and animating all this stuff. But just there's just it's just the story pacing is like I said, it's right now it's hit or miss, and we'll have to see where the story is going to end up going probably by the end of the season, and whether or not they eventually will plan on doing like some kind of continuation of this.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess that all being said, until next Tuesday, we will see you all next time.